If you're raising meat for your freezer, do you want to do cow-calf on 5 to 10 acres? I don't know. What if you could just buy some steers? Now, what's a steer? A steer, of course, is a castrated male calf. And so he's not going to breed anything. He's not going to be trying to breed anything. All he's going to be doing is eating your forage and putting weight on. If you do a good job with that steer, it depends what size you buy your steers. You can buy them all different weights. I'll give you the weight. So let's just say you buy a 400-pound calf. A 400-pound calf is considered a stalker calf. You'll hear that term called stalker calf. That's a 400 pounds. And then they get up to 800 pounds. That's called a feeder. That's a feeder steer. A feeder steer means at 800 pounds, most people are getting close to putting those in a feedlot. And then they butcher them. They're ready to harvest it. Well, these big ones today, probably 1,400 pounds, 1,400 to 1,500 pounds. So let's talk about that a little bit. If you're a homesteader and you don't have a lot of acreage, folks, don't go out and get these great big cows. They will absolutely eat you out of house and home. You've got to get your smaller frame animals. And, that's what our herd is. We run South Pole. A mature steer on our farm is going to run 950 to 1,000, and maybe a little over 1,000 versus 1,500 pounds. It takes too long to get them fat. They got to eat way too much grass. They're just too big of animals. So if you're going to go buy your animals, make sure you ask them, how long does that calf take to get fat on grass? And then walk out in the herd and look at them. Make sure that there's something that you want to bring home. They shouldn't run away from you. They should be docile and healthy looking. They should be on grass. They shouldn't be on dirt. If you're buying steers from somebody that's not rotating very good, you're buying an issue. You're buying an animal that's probably going to get sick. Or he's got a bunch of worms in his gut. If you go cow-calf, of course, you're going to have to get them AI'd, artificially inseminated, or you're going to have to buy a bull. Now, as you get a bigger acreage and you want to run cow-calf, I say go for it. But on smaller acreages, I would highly recommend, if you're going to do beef, instead of doing cow-calf, I would really be looking at running steers. So let's just say you bought 400-pounders in the spring, and you grazed them all through the summer, and you got to the fall, and your grass is getting short, the days are getting colder, and you don't have any grass. What are you going to do? Well, you got two options. You can buy hay, keep that steer through the winter, then graze him again the next year, and he'll be big enough to eat. He'll be big enough to process or harvest at that time. If you buy a 400-pound calf in, let's say, May, you're not going to get him up to 1,000 pounds by September, October. It's just not going to happen unless you go out and break the bank and buy a bunch of grain and feed him, and then you got a grain-finished animal. You could buy a 7 to 800 pound steer in the spring. That one's going to be ready to eat in the fall if you do a good job of grazing. Folks, they need to be moved. They need to be moved. And if they're not being rotated, even on a small farm, you've got to calculate out how much they eat. So they eat 3% of their body weight. So if you buy an 800-pound steer, let's just do the math on two 500-pound steers. That's 1,000 pounds. 3% of 1,000 is 30 pounds a day forage. That's what you got to allow them to eat. And you've got to have enough rest in between your rotations that the grass has a chance to grow back. And that can be an issue on small acreages.